Continuing our Armageddon journey even further. I am loving painting the miniatures in this set. I'm really enjoying the results that I am getting. As you can see, I've already got a couple of miniatures painted. We've done a video for the boys. We have done a kill rig video. We have done a war track video. We have done intercessor video. We have done a land speeder video, and we have done the banner bearer. In today's video, we're going to tackle the Space Marine captain, and he is festooned with awesome detail, and he definitely make a centerpiece of any Space Marine army out there. Obviously, I'm doing it in my Imperial Fist scheme, so it's going to be a kind of a slow, arduous journey to get him from grey plastic to a beautifully painted yellow miniature, and it was quite the journey, but I'm excited to show you guys that journey and see the results for yourself. Now, before I get into the video, huge thank you to everyone that continues to support the channel, liking, commenting, subscribing. That means the world to me, so thank you guys so much. And everyone out there who has stepped in and joined the Patreon, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. You keep the lights on and the cameras rolling. And as you guys know, we try and give back to Patreon as much as possible with extra videos and podcast episodes and community showcases over on Discord and all that kind of stuff. And then obviously we do have our giveaways. This month's giveaway is a full Armageddon box set. So if you didn't get a chance to get one yourself, or you're in the market for a second Armageddon box set and you want to be on a chance of winning one, all you need to do is be signed up to the Patreon. So as you can see, the new captain from the Armageddon box set is truly a stunning miniature. They didn't really show off this plumed helmet very much in the promo stuff, but then obviously we found out that he had it, and it is one of the coolest Space Marine helmets that I have ever seen. So of course I had to build him that way. I'm sorry if my intro got cut off a little bit early there. I don't know what was missed. There was a weird glitch with the file, so I do apologize if that just kind of went short and then immediately dived into the painting bit. It's just, yeah, sometimes it happens. So the model got sprayed with bone, and then I went through my kind of traditional Eavy Metal style of doing the yellow armor. So the first coat is actually a mix, and I will put a link down to the Eavy Metal archive down below where you can find out what exactly is used to make this. But it's basically just Uriel yellow and Scrag brown mixed together. It's an odd one, but it really does work as a base coat for Imperial Fists. And I've now got, I think, coming up on 2,500 points of them painted in this style. It is a little bit slow, obviously. It's Imperial Fists. They're definitely not a Marine chapter that is fast at being painted. So you do want to take your time and make sure you give it the kind of attention it deserves. It, of course, being the best Space Marine chapter / Legion that has ever existed, the Imperial Fists. No one would ever dispute that. Now, after that's done, we're going to mix glaze medium with Deathclaw brown, and we're going to glaze down this color, so down into the recesses and the lower parts of any flat panels to add in a little bit of shadow and shading. Once again, you don't have to be mega precise with this. Obviously, just use your judgment. Where you think light is going to not hit on an armor panel is where you want to put that Scrag brown. So recesses and stuff work great for that. I think I'm just working down the kind of bottom half of the shin pad there. And obviously when we get to a Uriel yellow glaze later on, we're going to glaze ourselves up with that, and that will brighten up all those panels again. And then obviously we can tidy up anything that's a bit overdone with Scrag brown then. After that, we're going to get some Doombull brown, mix that with glaze medium and water to get a really thin down coat of paint that we will just carefully paint into all the recesses of this entire model. Well, all the recesses on the yellow armor. So any lines, any panel gaps, any vent openings, anywhere, any segments between armor plates, all those bits are going to get hit with this coat and just pin washed in between them. And this will add a whole hell of a lot of definition to the armor. It really does make a huge difference to the final look of a model. So it's one of those steps that I love. I think it looks absolutely amazing. Now, obviously, the channel is called Mediocre Hobbies, and this scheme is just a little bit more advanced than normal. The reason I do this is because this is my main personal army. So I won't kind of sacrifice my standards to make a simpler video. I know it sounds a little bit silly, but I just want these models to look as cool as possible. So I'm fighting my way through the Armageddon box, trying to make them look as nice as I can, because they're going to sit directly into my collection. So the yellow armor is looking nice. It's all pin washed. It's all shaded down. It's time to now make it pop and bright. So that's where we mix Uriel yellow with glaze medium and we glaze up. So it's like 1 part kind of paint to like 5 parts glaze medium to make it thin enough. And then obviously you can put this on the armor panels. And like I said, glazing upwards. So kind of the opposite direction that you put the Scrag brown on. And this will brighten up those panels. Do not go back over and over and over the same spot. If you need to build up a stronger tone on any individual panel, like go over that panel once, then continue painting the rest of the model, and when it's fully dry, then you come back and do a second coat. Don't go over and over and over again with a semi-wet or wet paint. You will just leave streaking and torn paint behind, and you will never get that smooth result that you're looking for. So yeah. And obviously I will be patient and I will take my time, and I will go through every single segmented section of this armor with this paint and make sure I get that yellow tone that I'm happy with before I move on to the edge highlighting, which is really going to make this model pop. Now, with that all done, like I said, it's time to move on to that edge highlighting. Now, the Eavy Metal scheme kind of goes in and uses kind of Uriel yellow as an all-over edge highlight, and then it goes into flash kits, Dorn, and then white. I don't find that the Uriel yellow adds enough to the scheme that's worth the time investment that it does. Because the Uriel is supposed to be that like 100% every single edge is supposed to be done with that. And then you drop down to flash kits and do like 80%. Then Dorn, you only do like 15%. And then a touch of white in the corners is like between 2 and 5% of the edges. So honestly, it would take like to do this whole model with Uriel yellow on every single edge would take 20 minutes, half an hour. A 10-man squad, that's 5 hours of painting. I like, no. So I go in, the flash kits takes long enough. We're talking like 10 minutes a model to go around and do like 80% of the panels, the edges. It definitely adds that definition, the one that I'm looking for. And I'll once again start to kind of emphasize all the different panels across the model. And it really does like a nice kind of two halves of a coin, with each panel, like the panel itself being that really nice Uriel yellow glazed down with scrag to create that nice shadow, and then pin washes in all the real kind of deep shadows, and then the flash kits yellow on all the edges. Like all of that combined just does really give you that yellow that you're looking for Imperial Fists. And like I said before, this is not I didn't come up with this scheme. This is the actual Eavy Metal scheme that Games Workshop uses to paint their Imperial Fists. Like I said, I will leave a link to the article down below, the Eavy Metal article, which has a whole host of different tutorials all written down. So if you want to know like the mixes and stuff to get the first coat of paint, or how to glaze, all that kind of information will be in that article as well. So when the flash kit is done, we then move on to that Dorn yellow. And like I said, we jump way down to the amount we're going to apply. We're just aiming for kind of sharp corners and doing like, I don't know, a few centimeters out from each one. So like I said, it's kind of 15-20% coverage on that. And obviously, if you have a long flat surface, you can do a little line in the middle of it as well as the corners, but there shouldn't be too much that you would need to do on a power armor model. If you go back and watch the new land speeder video I did, you can see where I used that Dorn yellow a little bit more than just the corners to really emphasize all the different shapes and panels on that flyer. And then obviously we go on to the white and we just do the very tips corners, like the sharpest little details are going to get hit with white. And then that will finish off the yellow power armor of this model. I know it's taken kind of 8 minutes in the video to get to the point where just the yellow armor is done. But when I look at the yellow armor that I've achieved, I'm more than happy to have spent that much time doing it, because I think it looks really, really cool. And I would be super proud to put this in with my Imperial Fist army. Okay, time to start tidying up some of the other details. So we get some black Templar contrast and we start filling in all of the black details. So this is obviously the soft seal sections of the armor, kind of the bits between armor panels. And then obviously I'm going to do his kind of tassely bits in black. I'm going to do his plume red and black. So there's a few sections out there that are going to be black. The tilt shield I didn't do in yellow, as you will notice, because I'm going to do that in quartered red and black. The kind of ropey, lacy bits that go across his chest, I'm going to do those in black. So there's a whole host of different bits and pieces which I think will help break up the yellow. Then we move over to Blood Angel's red contrast, and same idea, we're going to paint that into different sections. So I've decided to do the sheath of both swords. Yes, that's right, both swords. This guy's wielding 2 swords. Why has he got 2 swords? I don't know. So the sheaths of those, his cape is going to go in red. And then the quartered black and red tilt shield will obviously get red, and then his shoulder trim. Remember, I'm doing mine as 3rd company, so that is the red shoulder trim. And that's why I play so much red into my Imperial Fist schemes, just to really emphasize the company in which these guys are based. Which I don't really know how I do that, because this is my 2nd Imperial Fist captain. So how the hell does one company have 2 captains? Let's not get into semantics of that, but anyway. So here's the red and black blocked in. You can start to see all the different kind of variations of color that this model is going to have. Retributor armor, very quick coat, all the bits that you want to be gold. So all the rest of the details on the sword, apart from the handle. The beautiful shield that he has, that big Crux Terminatus elite symbol that's on his shield. I decided I'm going to block that in gold. He's got basically an iron halo above his head, gold, and a few other bits and pieces. You obviously know the ornamentation of Space Marine armor. They are big fans of having lots of gold detail, especially for the higher ranking members of a chapter. So captains have a lot of bling. Lead Belcher, blocking all the other metallic sections, obviously the blades of the sword and the inner kind of handle of the shield I did. And then obviously the power pack has a few bits and pieces that are silver as well. Not too much silver, as like I said, when you're that kind of rank, if it's going to be metallic, it might as well be gold. Now, we did mix things like Steel Legion drab with a bit of bone, and we kind of base coated all of the scroll work and all the purity seal bits with that. The corn red and screamer pink mix was used for the chest aquila and all of the wax seals that exist on all of the purity seals across the model, which is quite a few. I think there's about 6 of them. Very quick and very easy. And then we have those kind of bits in. We have all of the base coats on the model. So now it's time to shade it down. So null oil for every single part of this model that isn't yellow armor. So don't go and cover the yellow armor in black wash. Like I said, the yellow armor is perfect. Leave it alone. But every other piece is going to get shaded down with that null oil mix. And then when that is fully dry, then we are going to go in and start to layer up those details. Has anyone else made really good progress with their Armageddon box set just yet? I'm slowly but surely working my way through my other 5 intercessors to finish off that squad. And then I just have the Vanguard and the aggressors left, and the Marine half is finally finished. I'm very much enjoying getting it done. And I decided I'm going to get all the Marines out of the way first before I really dive in and work on the Orcs, because Orcs is going to be one of the big armies I play with a lot in 11th edition. So Marines out of the way, and then I can focus on my new Orc army. As you can see, I'm now going back to the kind of chest aquila. So that original corn red and screamer pink mix just get mixed with bone then to brighten it up. And then when you do a layer of that, and then for the final highlight, it's just the pure bone on the tips and the edges. And those same steps are carried across with the hilts of the swords, and all of the wax purity seal sections of the purity seals are all done with those exact same colors. And this will make all those details pop. Evil Sun Scarlet, Wild Rider, and Towlight Ochre are the 3 colors we're going to use to work up all of the red sections. The Evil Sun Scarlet is basically a layer job, so obviously we're going to be hitting quite a lot of the red sections with this, and leaving all the deeper, darker shadows nice and dark. And then the Wild Rider Red and the Towlight Ochre are just going to be basically like edge highlights. Now the Wild Rider being quite a kind of a significant edge highlight. Most of the edges are going to get hit with that to kind of make it pop, make it look really nice. And then just small touches with the Towlight Ochre in those corners to emphasize it and make it look really clean and nice. And obviously this same red thing is going to be done in every red section. So that's all of the sheaths of the swords, the plumes, the trim on the shield. All those bits are going to get done with the same colors, which obviously help with the tone of the model. The red really was in all the right spots to perfectly frame the yellow on the Space Marine. So I was quite happy with it. And this is us very carefully going in with that Towlight Ochre. And as you can see, we're going to go in and do about 20% of the surface with that. So corners, a few of those flat middle sections. That's all we're really going to do, just to push that red up to the next level, make it pop, make it really nice and defined. It's such a simple technique. And once again, it was that Eavy Metal article that was like, use Towlight Ochre as the last step of highlighting red. I never would have thought about that in a million years, but I've been doing it for the last couple of weeks, and I think the result is great. Liberator Gold is used to add a quick highlight to the gold sections we've already done. Like I said, this was just Retributor Armor Gold and then Null and Oil shaded down, which gave you a really nice gold. But the Liberator really does pick it back up again, make it pop, but obviously it's all shaded down, so it looks really, really nice. It looks like you put a whole lot of effort in, and you really didn't. It's my favorite thing, making things look like you spent a lot of time on them when you didn't. So yeah, continuing that until I'm really happy with all those. Obviously there's cross guards and hilts of swords, which only's been on gold in the Iron Halo and stuff. So yeah. Corvus Black used to tidy up all the black sections, obviously. So the other parts of the tilt shield, those tassely bits, and then those rope sections. Once again, very quick step. The laurel was obviously painted on his head as well. His eyes were painted in. You know, laurel is just a kind of normal green paint, and it was null and oiled as well. And then you just go up with slightly brighter and slightly brighter greens until you're happy with it. The eye lenses are the normal eye lenses I've been doing for all my Space Marines, which is black, and then just a little bit of kind of warpstone glow, a little bit of moot green, dot of white. Yeah. Can you guess how many transfers are on this model? There's quite a lot. Put it down in the comments below if you can figure out how many transfers are on this single infantry sized model. So the transfers went on. I added some weathering powder to the base to darken it down a little bit. And then I gave the whole thing a nice spray of Minotaur varnish, which is basically a satin varnish. Gives a little bit of a sheen, protects the paint, and secures all the transfers in place as well as the pigment. And that gave us our finished Space Marine Captain from the Armageddon box set. I must say I'm super pleased with the final result. I don't know how I'm going to relegate my old captain out of the list to field this guy. That would feel like a betrayal. The captain's been working very well for me, so I don't know. And then, of course, here he is next to his Chapter Ancient, his own banner team, so they look very well together. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and enjoying this video. Hopefully you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.